Hello, welcome to the class. Today we are going to look at the examples of economic sectors. We know we have three types of economic sectors. We have the agricultural, the manufacturing, and the services sectors. The more advanced the society, the more it gets to services. So at the beginning, every society used to start as an agricultural state and then moves into manufacturing and then into services sector. So today we are going to look at the manufacturing sector as an economic sector. So what are the segments that constitute the manufacturing sector? Here are they. Some of these segments are here. We have the aerospace, textiles, computer hardware, food processing, pharmaceuticals, steel, household goods, defense, construction, automobile. For the aerospace industry, manufactures what? They manufacture planes, space vehicles, or what we call space shuttles. We have the textile. Textiles, they manufacture clothes, and the clothes that we use, shirts and everything we use in our body is under textile segment. Then the next one is a computer hardware. That is, they manufacture the computers we use, such as the desktop and the notebooks. We have the food processing that manufacture the frozen food and the canned food we buy from the grocery. We have pharmaceuticals and their function generally is to manufacture medicines and vaccines, such as the vaccines we are taking for the COVID-19. All these things are made by pharmaceutical industries such as Pfizer, uh, Janssen, AstraZeneca, etc. Another segment within the manufacturing sector is the steel. Steel is the manufacturing of steel from the iron or iron ore, because steel is typically iron plus carbon and other small additives. But the greater percentage of steel is iron. It's made of iron. So steel is nothing but the conversion of iron from iron into steel by adding carbon and other minor additives. So another segment is what we call the household goods, or some people call it the white line segment. They manufacture the oven, washing machine, refrigerators, dishwashers, the things we use inside our house. We also have the defense segment. Defense segment is always controlled by the government of each country. They manufacture arms, weapons, flight jets, bombs, etc. We have the construction, whose responsibility is to construct buildings. They construct or build buildings and sell. Then the last one here is the automobile industry or segment. It's responsible for manufacturing cars and trucks. Okay, examples are General Motors, Ford, Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, Mercedes, etc. So these are some of the segments we have inside the manufacturing sector. And these are the examples of the things they produce. Now, what are the problems each of these segments generally face or have? What are the main problems? For example, the aerospace, the main problems generally airplane accidents or the spaceship explosions. Sometimes they occur. So, what should they do? They have to find a way to reduce this level of accidents. For the textile segment, we have air pollution and we have water contamination. Sometimes we have the child labor. Okay, that is the using the child labor to produce the clothes we wear so that it becomes cheaper and the countries can have a competitive advantage. They can export more. Okay, but this is a problem because it brings a scandal to the companies involved or the countries involved in this. Okay, the next one is a computer hardware. So what is the problem with computer hardware segment? when they produce computers that don't function well, or the one that breaks down all the time, you have to fix, you have to always go back and fix, and it breaks down. So, in other words, the reliability is very low. So, this is a problem they need to fix. For the food processing, we have food poisoning, or we have the contamination of food. When you eat it, you are going to have some problems. You'll be taken to hospital. Okay, so sometimes it occurs. So for this, they have to be very careful. They have to use a very nice protocol, a rigorous protocol for producing or processing food. Pharmaceuticals, what are the problems? Sometimes you have medical contamination. Most of the time, you have the people protest because of the high cost of medicines, especially to the poor countries. So the cost of medicines are always very high when you compare with the income of poor countries, so that they cannot buy the medicine. So this is a problem, which these segments they have to find a way to reduce the cost. Okay, for the steel production, the problem is again pollution, air and water pollution and water contamination by toxic metals. All right. So for companies to engage in this, they have to find a way to reduce the level of pollution. It's very important. Household goods, what are the main problems? We have sometimes accidents at home, sometimes we have explosions at home. So they have to reduce the risk of having accidents at home or explosions. The segment they have to do it as a group. They have to find out, they have to use maybe a common protocol for the production of goods, all right? And then they have to also have a good manual so people can read and understand how to use their products. So for the defense segment, which is always controlled by the government, what are the common problems? Sometimes we have the protests on the streets because they sell arms to maybe terrorist groups or separatist groups we have around the world, and this is a big business. So this is it's a real problem. And then people also protest against wars. But then, what should be the solution? How can you solve this, since it is controlled by the government of each country? So think about it. Okay, for the construction segment, we have collapse of buildings and the accident involving workers, construction workers. This is very common. Accident involving construction workers is very common. So this segment, they have to find a solution to this, find out how to reduce these incidents. And the last one is the automobile segment. What are the problems they have? Generally, recalls when they detect there is a defect in one of their parts of the car, they generally call for recalls. But sometimes, before calling for recalls, people may have died from accident caused by these defects in the production. So, what should they do? They have to do everything possible to reduce the level of defects or the recalls of their product. So these are the common problems we have with each of these segments we have here. So your job now will be to find out the solution for each of these problems enumerated here. Okay, think about the solution for each of them and write in the comment section. I will get in contact with you. Okay, write for each problem we enumerate here, find out what should be the appropriate solution to each of them, and then write them down in the comment section. Okay, I will get in contact with you immediately. See you in the next class.